This episode of the 10-Minute Off-Road Podcast is brought to you by Pickled Pig's Feet. Want to practice for an episode of Fear Factor? Try eating a pickled pig feet. That's Pickled Pig's Feet. Yeah, who even makes those things? Episode 9, Where It All Began. All right, so welcome to the 10-Minute Off-Road Podcast. I'm your host, Nikki G. I'm here to inform, delight, and entertain you about all things off-road for about 10 minutes or so. So I hope you have 10 minutes. This episode, I'd like to talk about how you got started in off-roading. Yeah, I know I had this episode before, and a lot of people wrote in, and I just read their comments online. But this time I headed outside and talked to the people and got their comments on how it all started. You know, where it all started for me, I've been off-roading on and off my whole life. I've really gotten into it heavy about the past 10 years or so when I come across a wrecked Cherokee XJ. And I built it up, put it back together, and gave it to my daughter because she was turning 16 at the time, got her driver's license. And she hated the thing. She thought it looked more like a station wagon than a vehicle. And I guess to a teenage girl, a vehicle is more of like an accessory. It has to match your purse more than functionality. And I liked it because it was a big chunk of beefy American steel wrapping my precious young ones in. I gave it to her, and she didn't like it. So she ended up buying a Volkswagen Beetle. Yeah, I know. That's horrible. It's like a parent's nightmare. I'd rather she joined a cult than to come home with a Volkswagen Beetle. The new Beetle. The old Beetle would be cool, but the new Beetle, I don't know. But anyhow, so I was stuck with this Jeep Cherokee, and I thought, hey, you know what? I'm going to put a lift on it. I managed to scrape up my own homebrew lift kit for it. And then I discovered the internet and the wealth of information on the internet. And so then it just went downhill from there. Built the rig, loved it. Started doing some off-roading, illegal off-roading, more of along the lines of trespassing. And then again, the internet saved me and hooked me up with a bunch of people like-minded like myself, and it snowballed from there, and I've been going heavy at it. And I enjoy it, and I love doing it. I love the people. I say all the wheeling trips I went, and a lot, always with strangers, you know, some people I know from previous wheeling trips, but always meeting new people. And everybody out on the trails is great. Except for one schmuck one time. I ran across this guy that was a real jerk. But he was driving a Toyota, so I don't really count him as off-roading. But other than that, you guys have been great, and I love the community, and I love the support, and I love the outreach. And I feel accepted. Thank you, guys. I head out to Uwharrie last week and talked to you guys, and here's what you guys had to say about how long have you been off-roading and what got you started in it?
I've had this for a year. I've probably taken it off 8 or 9 times. So, I came through Uwharrie one time, and we were just kind of passing through and saw a few trails, but I was still on my stock tires and everything, so wasn't too adventurous. So, I'm a Jeep salesman. I work at a Jeep dealership.
Yeah, knowledge.
Yeah, I've been doing it for a couple of years, 5 years, and I've been in love with Jeep since before I bought one, but I finally had enough, had to get my own.
All right, man, thanks for your input, and I agree. If you sell Jeeps for a living, you got to have the first-hand knowledge of what they do off-road. This way you're not really schmoozing anybody. You're pretty much telling them how it is from knowledge when you sell it. Although people know about Jeeps and they're buying into the Jeep lifestyle. You know, a car is a car, but a Jeep is a way of life. Yeah, 90% of the people when they buy a Jeep, they know what they're getting into, and salesman's really not. You're just an accessory. Sorry if that sounds insulting, but that's the way it is.
About 4 years.
All right. What drew you to it?
I've just always enjoyed Jeeps and being outdoors, so
Alright.
kind of combined the two.
How long you been off-roading?
About 2 years.
What brought you to off-roading?
Overlanding.
How long you been off-roading?
About 4 years.
Got you.
Probably rock crawling about 2 or 3.
Yeah.
All right, man. You two guys were a hoot. I kept running into them on the trail throughout the day. At one time, they were broke down on the side of the road or the side of the trail, and I stopped and chat with them. And just their shifter linkage came off the transfer case, which, the factory Cherokee shifter linkage is garbage anyhow. But, just pop it off and slap it in 4-low by hand and finish the day. All right, so time for the question of the month. And the question of the month is still, what random item do you have in your Jeep? What's the most random item you have in your Jeep?
Probably my tackle box.
Well, that's not too random.
Let's see.
I carry a can opener. I never have a can of soup or nothing. I just always have a can opener. And yes, we have finally laid is the hot dog a sandwich question to rest. You can catch the 10-Minute Off-Road Podcast on Podbean. I've never heard of it either, but it's a thing. Apple iTunes, or Podcast Now as it's called, and Google Play. But you can't catch it on iHeartRadio because those pricks won't approve us for some reason. You can contact us at 10minuteoffroad@gmail.com, and you can catch up to us on the Instagram and the Twitter, and we even have a Facebook page. All right, so this is Nikki G signing out and saying, wheel what you got to be happy.